Ladies, where's your pink at? Woo! Good morning, and thank you for joining us. It's great to see New Yorkers come together as one and step up for what's right. At a time when the federal government seeks to roll back the rights of women and expel young immigrants who have only ever called this country home, it is more important now more than ever that we stand up for our values and our beliefs. The election last year and the actions in Washington have served as a stark and scary reminder that our fight is far from over. We must continue to raise our voices, to speak out, and to take action. And so, ladies, are you ready? Yeah! In New York, we are fortunate to have leaders like our feminist leader, Governor Cuomo, who's leading the fight for the principles of equality and opportunity. Since day one, the governor and his team have been champions for the rights of women in our state and continued the progressive fight forward. It is now my honor and my privilege to introduce a leader in this effort, ladies and gentlemen, the Secretary to the Governor, Melissa DeRosa.
Thank you, Tish. Welcome to our kickoff of the second official Women's March. Thank you all for being here. It's a pleasure to be here with so many advocates and leaders in the fight for equality. 2017 was the year when women spoke up, from marching in the streets to speaking out about the pervasiveness of sexual harassment, misogyny, and sexism. We made it clear that women would not tolerate a repeal of our rights or a return to our past by saying, "Me too," and "Time's up." Well, 2018 needs to be the year when society responds, and that's what today is all about. Under Governor Cuomo's leadership, New York State leads the way. This year, the governor is continuing the progress we've already made together, not only shielding New York from the devastating policies coming out of Washington, but launching an unprecedented Women's Agenda program to continue to lead with progress forward. We are excited to be working with so many talented New Yorkers to turn this agenda into a reality and make a difference for women and girls today and for generations to come. And I'd like to acknowledge a few of the important leaders that are with us today in that fight. It's a long list, so please hold your applause. Senator Liz Krueger, Senator Brad Hoylman, Assemblymember Joanne Simon, Assemblymember Richard Gottfried, Assemblymember Felix Ortiz, Assemblymember Neely Rosick, Assemblymember Ale Taylor, Public Advocate Tish James, and local elected officials from around the state. We also have Susan Zimmett, the chairwoman of the Women's Equality Party, and lots of great advocates from around the state. From the New York State Council on Women and Girls, which I am very honored to chair, we have Laura Bronstein, Robin Chappelle-Goldstein, Andrea Miller, Sonia Sorio, Rebecca Minkoff, the very pregnant Rebecca Minkoff, who still made it to March today, and Dina Basked. We also have Jill Ferrillo, the Executive Director of the Nurses Association, Gloria Middleton, President, CWA Local 1180, and all of our brothers and sisters in labor. We also are pleased to have members of the governor's administration who are continuing to lead this fight: Counsel Alfonso David, Labor Commissioner Roberta Reardon, Commissioner Ruth Ann Busquets, Guillermo Linares, Mimi Reisner, and Kelly Owens. And we also have a couple of members of the governor's family, including Kristen O'Donoghue and the governor's youngest daughter, Michaela Kennedy Cuomo. It is now my honor, and please join me in welcoming a lead ally in this effort, President of the National Organization for Women of New York and the Women's Justice Now, Sonia Sorio.
Good morning, everybody. So great to see you. Wow, you do not look worse for the wear after the year that we have had, right? You know, at New York Now, we have had to officially update our sick leave policy to include TAD, Trump anxiety disorder. No, it's true. But if you can believe it, unfortunately, there's no insurance to cover it. So we've had to do a lot of self-medicating. Many of you in this room have joined us. And if you go on our website, we've got a list of the lost and found things. We've got one brown toy poodle and a Pomeranian and a husband. He needs to be picked up. He says he misses you very much. We're taking it a little too far. I spoke with Congresswoman Carolyn Maloney last night. She is stuck in D.C. She was really disappointed that she couldn't be here. Always a champion for all of us. She wanted me to point out how excited she is that the Equal Rights Amendment was included in your agenda, Governor. And you know what that means. For her, Equal Rights Amendment means I love you. So she sends her love. So, you know, women across this great state and across the country are resisting in big ways and small. Last year at this time, we gathered, 75,000 women and men here in New York City to send a message that we would not be denied our rights, that we were going to fight for our democracy each and every day. And by God, that's exactly what we have done. And we're going to do it again today. The federal government might be shut down right now, but we are not shut down. We are not shutting down, and neither is our great governor, Governor Cuomo. So I'm going to let him tell you a little bit about the agenda that he has set forth here in New York for us, for our families, for our economy. And I look forward to seeing you later today, where we can raise a little hell out on the street and take it over. Thank you so much.
Good morning. Are we fired up today? Are we ready to march today? Let's give Sonia Osorio and the NOW organization is really organizing, is really mobilizing. She's doing a great job. Let's give her a big round of applause. I love Tish James, and so should you. What an advocate she is. Melissa DeRosa is the first female secretary to the governor in the history of the state of New York. Let's give her a round of applause. All the women organizers, all the women who are here today, congratulations. Good for you for showing up. Good for you for standing up. And I'm excited about the possibility. The government is shut down. Normally that would necessarily be a bad thing. I am not so sure that with this government, shut down is a bad thing. I think many of us would have taken that for the past year. First rule is do no harm, and they have done plenty of harm. I'd also like to thank my colleagues who are here from the Assembly and the Senate. I believe together we are going to pass the most progressive women's agenda ever passed this year. I'm excited. I'm excited. Every cloud has a silver lining. And I am actually excited about where we are today. Because I think this is a moment in history. I think we will look back to this moment as a transformational moment for women. We are standing on a spot. We have a moment in history, and it is a highly energized moment. And we have a line back and we have a line forward. The line back is where the federal government wants to take us and where they are taking us. The line back is very clear. You have a president of the United States who simply does not respect women. It's that simple. Before policy, before issues, it's a simple issue of respect and perception of the relationship. And to this president, women are all about a Miss America contest. That's what it's all about. It was even the remark a couple of weeks ago. Why don't we invite more Norwegians? He's still thinking Miss America contest. It's then coupled with a Congress that is an extreme conservative, socially conservative Congress that is rolling back all the progress that we've made. Roe v. Wade rolled back. Contraceptive care rolled back. Equal pay rights rolled back. Anti-discrimination laws rolled back. Sexual harassment on campus policies rolled back. It's clear where they're going. And it's clear what they believe. They don't hide what they believe. They don't secret what they believe. They are extremely conservative when it comes to social issues. And that's what they've been pushing from day one. And they're saying, go back here. New York is setting the line forward. Why? Because that's what New York does. And that's what New York does. That, I believe, is what New York does institutionally. We are the socially progressive capital of the nation, and it's our job to raise the bar higher and higher. My father did that before me with every social issue that was pressing at the time. He said, let me show you through New York what the progressive bar is, and especially when it comes to women. I think God sent the Cuomos a special message when it came to women. He did. God acts in strange ways. My mother and father have 5 children. 3 girls, 2 boys. We don't count the other boy. It's really 1 boy. They marry all sorts of different people. We have Jewish brother-in-law, Irish brother-in-law, all sorts of different combinations. 14 grandchildren. Out of 14 grandchildren, 13 girls. That's God, because it's not math, it's not probability. It's God saying, I want you to have a vested interest in taking care of women. My 3 girls, the New York sets the bar. Now, New York and the history and the legacy of New York is we always set the bar on progressive issues. The women's rights movement started here with Seneca Falls. The workers' rights movement started here with the Triangle Shirtwaist Factory fire. Civil rights movement started here with the NAACP. Gay rights movement started here with Stonewall. The environmental rights movement started here at Storm King. All the great environmental movements started here. So it's our place to set the line forward. And we are. We have the most aggressive women's empowerment agenda that the state has ever seen. It starts with writing Roe v. Wade into the law, because that's what we need to do. It starts with changing the state's constitution so that women are protected in the Constitution and sex is added as a protected class. It's a contraceptive care act that protects a woman's right to choose because it's about control and respect, and it's a woman's body, it's a woman's choice. And it takes on this issue of sexual harassment head on. It says, first of all, no government money used to pay for a sexual harassment settlement to take care of someone who did something wrong. It says no more secret non-disclosure agreements. We can keep the woman's privacy, but let's know who was part of the settlement. It says any company that the state does business with has to release the number of sexual harassment agreements and violations that that company has signed. It says before the state controller picks a company to do business with, let's make sure it has adequate female and minority representation on the board of directors. It says let the state come up with a uniform policy for sexual harassment, the policy, the procedures, and let every government in the state of New York follow the same policy, state, local, all 10,000 governments follow the same sexual harassment policy and procedure. Now, we have a moment to pass this agenda. So we have the line backwards, we have the line forwards, and then we have a moment. And there is energy in this moment. Why? Because as Sonia said, there's an anger about what the federal government has been doing. And people are energized. And people who don't care about government normally, they care about government now because they see the harm it can do. So we have that source of energy. And then we have the source of energy that is the outrage at this, what society has just seen in terms of sexual harassment. It is outrageous. Now, nobody should be surprised to find out that there's sexual harassment in society, right? That's Casablanca. Gambling, shocked, I'm shocked there's gambling. Sexual harassment in the workplace, I'm shocked at the sexual harassment in the workplace. It's always been there. It's been society's dirty little secret, let's be honest. It was always there. But the exposure has shown the extent, has shown that it's not just the uninformed, the ignorant, the arrogant, top levels of corporate America, top newsrooms, Hollywood. It's pervasive. And it's been going on for years with impunity. And it's an outrage. And women have had the courage to stand up and tell the truth, and that is a beautiful, beautiful statement. And we applaud their courage. And society is saying today, we have to do something. We're afraid they're pulling us back. We want to go forward. We're afraid of the abuse that we've suffered. And we must respond to this outrage of sexual harassment that has been going on forever and has reached the highest levels of corporate America. We have to do something. Now, change comes when people demand change. Change comes when people demand change. But you have to be ready to seize the moment. You have to be ready to seize the moment. We were trying to pass a gun control law in Albany for decades. We couldn't get it passed. Sandy Hook happened, the massacre in Sandy Hook, where the nation saw school children killed. And the national outrage went up, and the outrage in New York went up. And you know what we did? We passed the best gun control bill in the United States the next week. We have that kind of moment here. We can seize the energy in this moment, use the New York agenda, and say we're going to pass that New York agenda and we're going to hold it up for the rest of the nation to see what we should be doing if we actually want to protect women and respect women. Here's a feasible, real program that can be passed. And when you pass something in New York, it's not just New York, he says with New York arrogance. But it also happens to be true. Nobody would pass marriage equality. New York State stood up, first large state in the United States to pass marriage equality. You know what happened the next week? They took a microphone, they went to the President of the United States, and they said, well, what would you do if you were Governor Cuomo on marriage equality? They went to the Vice President of the United States. They went to every governor in the United States. They went to every state representative in the United States and said, what would you do? We passed this women's empowerment agenda in New York. It's not just for New York. It will set a new standard for the nation. It will ask the question to every governor and every legislator, will you do the same? You can take this moment. You take this moment, you take this pain, you take this anger, you take this outrage, you take this embarrassment, and you use it as a force for good, as a force for social reform. You take that apathy, and you say, we're not going to sit back and take it anymore. We're going to stand up and march, and we're going to march today, and we're going to march forward every day until we actually make change and reform society and stop it from happening so my daughter doesn't have to live in the same society that abuses women. And that's what today is all about. And that's what this march and this moment is all about. It's about the immediacy of now. It's about the immediacy of the threat from the federal government, the outrage of the sexual harassment that has gone on with impunity, and the demand for positive change and change now. Pass the law in New York. Take that law, protect New Yorkers, show it up to the nation and say, we can be better, we must be better, we will be better, we're going to respect women finally. Thank you and God bless you.